I think we're live. Well, actually, this is not live. This is what we call the pre-show. We're in the pre-show right now. We will be live in a few minutes, but we've got to get a couple things organized first. I do have my, thank you very much for, you already got a thumbs up. I do have my proper glasses. These are my driving glasses, general glasses. These are specifically for the computer screen, which is 3 feet away from me. 3 feet away from this, pulling this down a little bit. There we go. 3 feet away from me. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Final Cut Pro. What's going on with Final Cut Pro? Whatever they're doing with it, we're going to be talking about it because the Final Cut Pro team does indeed watch this show. We know that. So let's do a quick countdown and then we're going to get into it. Let me see. Where's that countdown? There it is. All right. Now I just have to push one more button and we'll be good to go. This is the button that makes me appear. Ta-da! Let me turn that off. It's not the pre-show anymore. This is the real show. Hey, everybody. How we doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Brooklyn. Will all of Apple's recent talk about AI carry over to Final Cut Pro? Well, you would think it would be. Of course it would. Of course it would. Now, the interesting thing, we already got a thumbs up. Thank you very much. The interesting thing is, I heard at NAB that perhaps Apple's taking a while because they want to do on-device AI. They don't want to use no third-party AI company. They want everything they want to do on device. The same way with the face recognition and the thumbprint, that doesn't go to a cloud. Thank you very much. We already got 4 thumbs up. Fantastic. That doesn't go to the cloud. It stays on the device. If Apple can do an effective on-device AI, that's going to be a game changer, because studios are going to use that. They don't want to send their transcripts up to an unreleased movie. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Well, I got to turn that. Let me see. Turn that up. We got to have that up. Let's try that again. Oh, I got to turn. Hold on. I got to turn that music. Should have been. I turned that off. What I wanted to do was this. Thank you. We already got 5 thumbs up when we just started. It's fantastic. Just wanted to check. Got a lot of people watching this morning, so let's talk about, and I want you, this whole broadcast is Final Cut TV. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. This broadcast is all about you, the watchers and listeners of Final Cut TV. That's what it's about. It's all about Final Cut listeners, Final Cut Pro listeners. Let me see if I can pull, there we go. Got to pull that up there. Now we're Final Cut TV. Let's make sure we go above. There, Final Cut TV. There we are. So this is all about the listeners. Now, number one is, of all the shows that are live about Final Cut Pro, this is the best one. All you listeners that listen in here, this is the one that the Final Cut Pro team listens to. They listen to it every week. So anything you have to say, they are going to get directly to them today. I have some opinions about what's going on. Hello from On Location. I'm not even sure where that is, Jeremy Johnson. You tell us and let us know. Good afternoon from Bucharest. Absolutely. This is the worldwide Final Cut Pro community, worldwide. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Good morning from Jamaica. Don Stafford, our friend, says good morning. We already got a lot of people watching. We got 7 thumbs up already. So like I said, one of the things I heard at NAB, Toronto, Canada. Good morning, good coffee. Oh, we got it. Listen. Got to have that. This is my Snoopy mug. I got it for Christmas. This mug is so big. It's incredible. So my coffee, when I make it super strong. 2 big scoops of number 3 grind for 1 cup. But the mistake I was making with this cup, it's so big. It's about 1.5 to 2 times normal size mug that I have, and I have big mugs. I was adding too much water, and it was watering it down too much. So now I fill it up about this much with coffee and add a little extra cream to it. One of the questions I have for you from Denmark, Canada, Denmark, Jamaica, Bucharest, Tajikistan. I'm not sure where that is. You can tell me. Brooklyn, New York, all over the worldwide, Australia, Denmark, worldwide Final Cut Pro community. This is the broadcast, the Final Cut TV broadcast that the Final Cut Pro team watches. They watch this. So when you say something and I put your comment up on screen, the Final Cut Pro team is going to see it. Before we get started in that, now that NAB was over, I didn't want to start this too early, but I'll start it now. Now that NAB is over, is there going to be a Final Cut Creator Summit in November 2024? I say yes, as long as the world doesn't explode. I say yes, there will be a Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in November, and I'm planning on going to that. So that will be very, very cool. We had a very good time there last year with the Final Cut Pro team. They seemed very exuberant, very happy, very excited about Final Cut Pro. Now, since then, things have gotten back to normal. I'm just west of Uzbekistan and south of Kazakhstan. Thank you very much, Jeremy. And you're working with Final Cut over there? Do they allow Final Cut overseas? I'm not even sure what the heck's going on. So yeah, so here's the deal. Since the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, which was fantastic, we want to give accolades to the Final Cut Pro team for that. Big thumbs up for that, for sure. It's kind of slid back into the, oh, we're taking a nap version of Final Cut Pro. Yep, got my Final Cut Pro fired up on my MacBook Pro, yes. So here's, speaking of MacBook Pro, thank you very much for the thumbs up. Ernest White says, Encino, California, great coffee, morning, sunny, good vibes, Encino, California. This is what I have right now. This is what I have. It's springtime. It is springtime. Let me put this on. Out here at the Final Cut Pro, at Final Cut TV and coffee. This is the backyard. You can see everything's turning green. Everything's turning green. Everything's getting beautiful. And the garden's in the background. You can see the bird feeder. The grass is green. I mowed it for the very first time yesterday. It's kind of late. May is kind of late. So let me change that. One of the things I can do with Ecamm Live is I can change things while we're live in preferences in the settings. I can change things. But also using DaVinci Resolve. We are going to talk about DaVinci Resolve. I watched some videos yesterday, and DaVinci Resolve has some extremely exciting new things in the Fairlight page. We're going to go over a couple of those things, and I'd like to see Final Cut adopt those. Watching on my phone, I hope I will not be sent back to the beginning when the live stream is in order to buy a commercial. That's terrible if it does that. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. 9 thumbs up already. Good evening, Richard, from Helsinki, Finland, from our friend Jari Innanen. Absolutely. Hey, they gave you a scrolling timeline. What more do you want? Well, I wanted the scrolling timeline back in version 1. So it's been 13 years. So am I appreciative? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was there for the worldwide debut, public debut of the scrolling timeline. I was right in the front. Final Cut Pro team was on their chairs or stools, and they debuted the scrolling timeline. And I said, "Hallelujah! It's about time." So no, I want a lot more than that. I get a kick out of people who say the Final Cut Pro crowd. And they say, oh, no, Final Cut Pro doesn't need anything. It's got everything. It's fine the way it is. We don't want bloat. We don't want, to be slowed down and all that. What utter nonsense. What utter complete nonsense. Listen, every update of every app person, third-party developer, baseline update, stability and performance. That's not a feature. That should be all the case every time. Is it work? Of course it's work, but it's a basic feature. It's like saying, well, I want a car, I got a new car, but I only want 2 wheels. No, you need four wheels. That's basic. You'd have to have four wheels for most cars. So anyway, I know all about, Final Cut's stable, and we don't want feature bloat and feature creep and all that stuff. There's no such thing as feature creep with Final Cut Pro. There's been feature sleep, but not feature creep. You don't have to worry about that. They're not going to give you a bloated piece of software. But they do have some catching up to do. They do have some catching up to do. Hello from New Jersey, a perfect location for the next Final Cut Pro Summit. If necessary, I would cross the river into New York City. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to have it where the Final Cut Pro team is, Cupertino, California. That's where they're going to have it. When they did the 10-city tour, and they had 25 people show up at each location, that's not a summit. A 10-city tour and 10 different dates is not a summit. A summit is one location and one time. That's a summit. The 10-city tour was a different thing they tried out. I don't think they're going to do that again because it didn't work out very well. So, though they will have the summit at Cupertino, and I'm hoping they're going to have it back at the Juniper Hotel, because the Juniper Hotel was perfect, a perfect location for the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. Perfect location. I was blown away with the DaVinci Resolve 19 release. Yes, we're going to talk about that. I talk a lot about DaVinci Resolve. Listen, just because I use DaVinci Resolve does not mean I'm quitting Final Cut Pro. That's not going to happen. I've been using Final Cut Pro for 21 years. There's next to no chance that I will quit Final Cut Pro unless they went subscription only. If they went subscription only, that would be big thumbs down from me and from tens of thousands or millions of Final Cut Pro users. So Final Cut Pro team, don't even think about going subscription only. I'm not saying that you are, but people keep suggesting that is a possibility. I don't think so. If they offer a subscription as an option, that's completely different. Do not go subscription only. Professionals don't mind paying for a major update to Final Cut Pro. For example, if the Final Cut Pro team, you guys and gals in the Final Cut Pro team, if you put out a version 11, built from the ground up, blah, 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 that's fine. I don't mind paying for a version of that again. I don't even mind if you say, hey, this is a perpetual license that will never stop working. However, it's only good for 2 years of updates, etc. But at the end of the update cycle, the version you have will still continue to work. That's fine. That's fine. So, of course, they're working on version 11. They've already told us that. They've already told us that they're working on version 11. What do you say? The Final Cut Pro team told us that they're working on version 11? Yes. They told us at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. What they said was, not only is Final Cut Pro not going the way of Aperture, but they said not only is Final Cut Pro, we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 6 months, we got plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 4 to 5 to 6 years. Okay, 4 to 5 to 6 years means that's version 11. That's not going to be version 10.9.9. That far ahead, that's version 11 that they're working on. DV19, I will wait till it's out of beta. Well, you can use both the 18.5, 18.6 version and the beta version. Listen, the beta version is very, very stable. It's got some great features in it. I do wish DaVinci Resolve had pinch to zoom in and out on the timeline with the trackpad. Yes, there's a couple of things that I wish DaVinci Resolve had. I wish they had a range selection in the edit page where you can range select with the R key, range select a portion of the timeline instead of setting an in point and an out point and getting that way. I can't find a range selection in the DaVinci Resolve edit page. It's in Fairlight in the audio, but I can't find a range selection in the edit page. Now, that could be me. I am nowhere near a advanced level of DaVinci Resolve. I only spend time in the edit page, a little bit in the cut page. Now I started going into Fairlight a little bit. I don't bother with Fusion unless I'm modifying a title. I don't do major color correction. I do that just basic color correction. So I'd like to see a range selection in the edit page in DaVinci Resolve. I can't find it if it's there. I'm in the same boat. I've been using DaVinci Pro, Final Cut Pro since version 4. I'm using DaVinci Resolve in conjunction with Final Cut Pro. One more tool in my arsenal, exactly. You don't have to say, I'm going to quit Final Cut Pro and go to Resolve. No, you can go to Resolve without quitting Final Cut Pro. You've already paid for it. Why would you quit it? Are you going to throw it away in the trash can and not open it again? It's ridiculous. Final Cut is still the most enjoyable, but DaVinci Resolve is just an incredible piece of software. Absolutely incredible. I finally did it. I purchased the DaVinci Resolve 19 Studio. Not being able to zoom with trackpad only and not hovering secondary playhead is insane, though. Yeah, there's a couple of things we miss. Absolutely. Thank you very much. We already got 11 thumbs up. I don't mind paying for Final Cut Pro once I'm getting features and regular updates. Yes, that's the point. You have to get, if we're going to pay for an update, it's got to be a big update. It can't just be, oh, we're going to give you 3 or 4 features. It's got to be an update with major features and stuff. But we understand that the Final Cut Pro team, they have to generate money with, I'm going to look over here for a second. So I have 3 monitors. I have my live view, my program monitor, and then a giant version of the broadcast over there on the right. Taking up the whole screen. It's full screen. Yeah, so that's the deal is, number 1 is don't go subscription only. That's number 1. Absolutely not. If you add a subscription as an option, that's not the same thing. But they've already got the iPad. They already got the subscription for the iPad. $4.99 a month is not, it's a very reasonable price. When I'm planning on getting an iPad Pro this year. We're going to talk about the iPad Pro event coming up on May the 7th, Tuesday. So a week from this coming Tuesday, there's going to be an iPad Pro event. Now, this is kind of bizarre, but it's 7 a.m. in the morning Pacific, 10 a.m. in the morning Eastern Daylight. When's the last time they did an Apple event in the morning? 7 a.m. in Cupertino? That's so bizarre, but that's when it is. So that's the next time that we have a good chance of getting a Final Cut Pro update. And the reason is this. I expect them to release a new version of Final Cut Pro for the iPad alongside the iPad Pro. And they'll probably demonstrate it in the presentation. And if they add a new version of Final Cut Pro for the iPad, of course they're going to have a new version for the Mac at the same time. So that's the next best time. I'm more confident that's when we're going to see Final Cut Pro 10.7.2 more than NAB. If you remember, I wouldn't take any bets on NAB. I was hoping, fingers crossed, that didn't happen. But I'm more confident that we're going to see an update to Final Cut Pro at the iPad Pro event. I've been saying that for a while. This is interesting. The transcript editor has a lot to be desired. It needs a threshold feature because not really accurate with removing silence. Nice, though, to quickly find stuff and drop to timeline. You don't have to drop it to the timeline anymore. In the beta version, the transcript is live in the timeline. You can place your entire 1 hour, 2 hour clip in the timeline. And in the transcript, which is a floating window of all your text with time, I think it has time code, I'm not sure. There's 2 options. Number 1 is in the browser. I call it the browser, but it's not. It's a media pool. It'll affect the clip in the media pool, or there's another icon now that'll affect the clip in the timeline. You don't have to drop clips into the timeline anymore, which is a major, that's in the 19 beta. It affects the transcript now is live linked to whatever is in the timeline. So when you select a portion of text, like with me, if I have a 1 or 2 hour video, I can just look at it and read it. So I don't want this paragraph in there. Just select the whole paragraph and delete it, ripple delete, and it ripple deletes in the timeline. Instead of listening in real time, like I have to with Logic or Final Cut, listen in real time. Oh yeah, like listen for 1 or 2 minutes. Oh yeah, I don't want that. No, I can read it, and so I don't want that in there. It's much quicker to edit long form. So it's no longer the clip in the media pool. It's now you can go to the timeline direct. If Apple imposes a subscription, that will lead to a slow death for Final Cut Pro. I will use iMovie, which does everything needed for practically any news package. It will not be a slow death. It will be an immediate, worldwide, it would be an explosion of negativity for Final Cut. They know that. They've been told. We talked about it at the Creative Summit. Of course, they don't make any firm comments. They know how much of an explosion that would be. It would be an exodus of users from Final Cut Pro. So I don't think, I'm not even saying they're going to do that, but people keep bringing it up. I am thinking they could have iCloud integration with Final Cut Pro, like Premiere and the Creative Cloud. Yes, I'm not sure what they're going to do there, but yes, of course. They will definitely feature Final Cut Pro on the new iPad. I'm just hoping it's more than a simple update for Mac. It's on a Tuesday, though. Yeah, exactly. So Tuesday is the second most popular day for Final Cut Pro updates, but it's the most popular day for Apple events. Tuesday is the most popular day. Once in a while they do them on a Monday, but absolutely Tuesdays are the most popular day for an Apple event. So it's not going to be a simple update. It has to be a feature update. Otherwise, it's just why bother? We've already had the last update, 10.7.1, was on December the 21st. I thought it was the 19th for some reason. That sticks in my mind. I think that's when the Mac Pro was released. So December the 21st was the last bug fix for Final Cut Pro, 10.7.1. I'm saying we're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th, along with the iPad Pro. Now, would I take a bet on that? I did not take bets for NAB, and I was right for not taking any bets for NAB. I'll take a coffee bet that we're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th. One coffee, I'll take that bet. Final Cut Pro is losing to broadcasters here in Korea. Adobe Premiere is the alternative, and DaVinci Resolve was also considered recently. I feel Final Cut Pro didn't much time to recover. They have plenty of time to recover. Here's the thing about Final Cut Pro. They don't think that they're in a race, okay? The Final Cut Pro team feels that they are just going to do their own thing in their own. They're running in the track. They're running in the track, but their own track. They don't look like they have competitors. At least those are the words. In reality, of course, they're in competition with everybody else. To think that they're not is just ridiculous. Of course they are. DaVinci Resolve, I think, being the main competitor. But anyway, 10.7.2, May the 7th. That's my prediction. We're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th. Now, I'm looking at, and I may change my mind, who in the heck knows, but the next MacBook Pro I've already decided I'm going to get an 8 terabyte SSD. I love the speed of the SSD. I have a 4 terabyte now, so I'm 64 gigabytes of RAM. I'm probably going to get 128 gigabytes of RAM, the highest GPU, the highest CPU, and 8 terabyte SSD. That's going to put me at $6,000 most likely. It's going to be an M4, and it's going to have Thunderbolt 5. I'm not buying into old technology. Thunderbolt 4 at this point is old technology, as good as it is. But, so I'm holding out for Thunderbolt 4, the M4 chip, Thunderbolt 5, the M4 chip, and I'll spring for the 8 terabyte SSD. I love working off the local SSD. It's so fast. It is so fast. And 8 terabytes would give me a 4 terabyte storage space for projects that I'm currently working on. So we have a lot of comments. These are comments for the Final Cut Pro team because they do watch this broadcast. Apple needs to really do more Final Cut brand awareness and leadership. They should be promoting Final Cut more. It's sad that they continue to promote other software with new hardware releases. Well, if they'll sell more Macs with the new version of Adobe Photoshop or a new version of DaVinci, that's fine. They're selling more Macs. Now, the fact that Final Cut Pro is not promoted, I agree. I mean, listen, there's absolutely no reason that they didn't have an update to Final Cut Pro for NAB. It's free money on the table that they're letting other companies come and grab. I'm going to grab this. DaVinci's going to grab this. Adobe's going to grab this. And Final Cut Pro got zero buzz at NAB. It makes no sense to continue to ignore NAB. Well, they're selective because they don't ignore it every year. 2017, 2018, and 2019, official Apple Final Cut Pro was there. 2017, 2018, and 2019. In the convention center. Well, 2019 was at the Faster Together Super Meet. It wasn't Super Meet, but it's Faster Together stage. But officially, they were there in those years. Makes no sense. You're making a mistake by not showing up at NAB. Something. I got 8 terabyte and my Studio M2 would have gotten 16 if I could. It's fantastic. I agree. Whenever Apple releases new hardware, they show Adobe and DaVinci being used. They can also show off their software. I think they will this time. I think there's going to be a new version of Final Cut with new features. And since AI is coming up at WWDC, they've kind of pre-announced that. I mean, Tim Cook has said that. That doesn't mean well, we'll see what happens. I've heard there's going to be hardware, some kind of a hardware AI improvement in the M4 chip. What does that mean? Once again, I think Apple is looking to do AI on the device, not going out to the cloud, not going out to third parties. They want to make sure that they have a legitimate right to use the AI, not just randomly scraping the internet with perhaps, copyright issues and stuff. Just started a long-form doc on Final Cut Pro. Would not consider to edit on Premiere or Resolve, although I teach them both. Premiere, absolutely not. I wouldn't do Premiere for any reason unless I was forced to at my job, just because of the Adobe ransom model, where they make you ransom. They hold you for ransom for the rest of your life if you want to use it. No, it's fine. Yari says he would not consider to edit Premiere Resolve, although I teach them both. I like Resolve a lot. The longer something is, the more I'll use Resolve, because Final Cut doesn't have text-based editing, and I love text-based editing. At least I would do a rough cut in Resolve. At least that, and then spit it out if I wanted to finish in Final Cut. Maybe they emphasize other software to avoid the monopoly claim. Well, I don't think there's really a claim for monopoly. What about Microsoft? They're a much bigger monopoly. There's more Windows computers than there are Apple computers out there. So I think what they're doing is they want to sell Macs. They want to sell Macintoshes computers. They want to sell iPads. Final Cut's not the only app. As a matter of fact, it's probably a smaller version, numbers-wise, of an app that sells Macs and iPads. I'm sure the iPad for Final Cut, they've probably got tens of thousands of people using it. But Final Cut for the Mac has 5 million, maybe approaching 6 million. The iPad version has nowhere near that amount. But the iPad version, you have Adobe Suite, you have Procreate, you have Pixelmator Pro, a lot of other things. Final Cut on the iPad is minuscule compared to the dozens and dozens and dozens of other apps. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Compared to the other apps that sell iPads. Final Cut for iPad is this big. The other apps that sell iPads are gigantic. So, of course, they want to promote it. They want to sell iPads. They don't want to say, oh, we only want the iPad for Final Cut Pro. That would be ridiculous. They sell iPads because of other companies. Same with Macintoshes. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. So, did you see that volumetric rendering in DaVinci Resolve Fusion? No, I did not. We own the OS and want you to only use our thing. Remember, they are fighting this very type of claim on the phone. It's a fake claim, okay? It's a fake claim. How long has the phone been out? It's ridiculous. Every company wants you to use their stuff. Windows. Does Windows say, hey, we don't want you to use Windows, the OS, in our apps. They want you to use everything. It's not, the whole claim about the iPhone is just complete BS, and I'm sure they're going to win in court. Nice chatting with you at the Content Creators Party. Hope the rest of your time in Vegas was productive. I had a great, superb time at NEB. I just enjoy that event so much, even though it was hard to deal with no Final Cut Pro stuff. So, yeah, the Content Creators Party is very cool. Very, very cool. I saw a lot of friends there, and I talked with Burke over there as well. I just go there and record video. I'm a sponsor. FMC and I have a relationship where I promote their events, and they take care of me. Final Cut Pro is on the M series Max, but it needs to utilize the M2 and M3 version better if they want us to upgrade from an M1 to a newer version, as the speed improvements are nearly non-existent. That's one of the reasons I'm waiting for the M4. Now, here's one of the things. I want Thunderbolt 5. I'm not buying a MacBook Pro. It doesn't have Thunderbolt 5. So hopefully the M4 will have it. Thunderbolt 5 is already out. Don't tell. I'm not going to. I hate spending money on old technology. I am not buying another computer with only Thunderbolt 4. That's years old. That's old. M5 is already out. It's in the wild. Some of the, I guess, Windows machines have it. So I'm going to spend a fortune on my next MacBook Pro. But I might just, if I get the iPad Pro, if it looks like, if they have pre-announced an M4 MacBook Pro for later this year, I might hold off and just not get the iPad Pro and wait for the M4. This is interesting. The voice isolation feature in Final Cut Pro is very good, especially since it's not always possible to use my Sennheiser MD46, the perfect ENG mic. I hope Apple will continue to improve voice isolation. Let's look at a feature, how Apple can improve voice isolation. Let's look at something here. Oops, I disappeared. Now let's look at this. Let me put myself back on here. Okay, let's look at this feature in DaVinci Resolve. I was blown away. First off, they have features where you can remove vocals and instruments from a pre-recorded track.
I am blown away by how easy and how good that sounds.
So let me just see if I can get this here. Look at this. I'm going to pull myself over. I can point to it. Look at this. They have a music remixer. Okay? You have sliders for voice, drums, bass, other, and guitar. You can also mute the voice. You can mute the drums. You can mute the bass. You can mute other and mute guitars. This is pretty advanced stuff. This is a DaVinci 19. Very impressive. Very impressive. But look what else it has. Let me show you what else it has. These are the ways that Final Cut could improve. This is one of the, so this is one of the other things. This is what Final Cut Pro could improve. Dialogue separator. Not only does it have voice isolation, but you can separate into 3 different layers: voice, background, and ambience. You can mute them or you can dial them back. So this is how Final Cut Pro has to improve voice isolation. Besides the fact that Dissolve also has a ducker, audio ducker, which Final Cut does not have. So it has music remixer and it has dialogue separator. It completely breaks down voice isolation, background, and ambience into 3 different categories. And it works pretty darn well. It works pretty darn well. I was very surprised when I watched some of the DaVinci Resolve 19. It's incredible. That's how you improve voice isolation in Final Cut. Sometimes you want to remove the background noise, but you want the ambiance of the room. You want the little bit of echo that the room has, and you can dial that up or dial it down, still removing the background noise, traffic noise, air conditioning noise, whatever. But the ambiance, this is how Final Cut improves voice isolation. This is exactly how they do it. Now, Resolve, once again, has already done it. So the fact that Final Cut just has the one dial is okay, but sometimes it's not what you want. So very cool. Very cool. DaVinci Resolve 19. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, here's one of the things about that. The Final Cut Pro team singled out DaVinci Resolve at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. They gave it accolades. They gave it accolades at the Creative Summit. The Final Cut Pro team did. They said that DaVinci Resolve is a very good NLE or a great NLE, whatever they said. That AI audio isolation in DaVinci 19 is king for me. I wonder if Apple can catch up. Well, they can. Whatever they got on their plate. I think one of the things they're going to have is improved voice isolation, and it just like DaVinci Resolve has, whether you divide it up into ambient, background, ambience, and then the voice itself. So if somebody was talking and you just wanted to use the background noise, cut the vocal out, and then you have a background like room tone automatically. So very, very cool. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We got 15 thumbs up. We got 50 people watching live right now. Fantastic. Don't forget your coffee. Do not forget your coffee. This is the backyard. There's going to be a garden back there pretty soon. You can see the dogwood tree up in the upper left-hand side, and then the bird feeder, and then the yard, and then I have some outbuildings, and I have the garden. When I say I'm not doing a garden. But that's going to be going in pretty soon. And there's another building back there that you really can't see, but it's there. A sunroom, or the greenhouse. It's all glass that I worked on last year. So Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, November 2024. I'm saying yes, absolutely. I think it's going to happen the first week, second week of November 2023. There's been no word from FMC. They have a lot of things they have to do besides that, although they have to coordinate. So one of the things, imagine being Future Media Concepts, and they got to book a hotel, and they got to book rooms, and they got to do X, Y, and Z. But they can't do any of that until they get a confirmation from Apple. They have to work around Apple's dates. Like last year, for the first time, it started on Monday morning, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They've never done that before. It's always been Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and sometimes Saturday. So they switched it around so we could visit Apple Campus, which we got to do. But we can only visit Apple Campus on a Monday, apparently, because that's when fewer people are there or whatever. We won't disrupt them as much. So, but you got to book these hotels a year in advance sometimes. So I'm not sure how they do that, but that's one of the frustrations of working that way. So one of the things that I want to recommend to Apple is, and I got this from my friend Bradley Olson, everything was really cool with visiting Apple Campus. We loved visiting the spaceship. But there's two things I'd like to see changed in this time. Number one, show us more of the inside of the campus, okay? There's no sense in us going to the spaceship campus and touring the outside plants again. That was fine, but we want to see more of the inside workings of the campus. Cafeteria, that's number one. So show us the inside of the Apple campus. I understand you can't disrupt the workflow, but there's places you can show us. Number two, the spaceship campus was very cool. Everybody liked it. However, the presentation from the Final Cut Pro team was much better presentation at One Infinite Loop. The reason is, at One Infinite Loop, we were in the theater. And we were sitting up high, and the stage was down here, so everybody in the theater could see all the presentation. When we're at the Apple campus, we were in a regular office kind of space, and it was flat, chairs were flat, and people in the back could not see the bottom of the presentation on the screen. So it actually was better at One Infinite Loop, the presentation. So do the presentation in a theater. I don't care if the theater's empty except for 300 people. It's a better experience for us watching it rather than sitting in a flat room and people in the back can't see the bottom of the screen and they can only see the top of your heads when you're presenting. Much better in a theater situation. They don't usually announce the summit until when? Well, I know about the summit before it's announced because I'm in communication with them. There's been no communication at this point. It's too early. When we get to the end of May into June is when there's some internal communication. I'm just saying they've probably already looked at booking the hotels. They have to. 6 months, at least 6 months ahead, if not 9 months. So there's an official announcement over the summer. It's sometimes not really is the date. They might do a pre-announcement. There's a Final Cut Pro Creative Summit Facebook group. That's a private group. You can join. They'll probably make an announcement there. They might make an announcement about the dates, but don't expect anything till June, July, or August. August, one of those 3 months for confirmation. I'll know some stuff ahead of time that I will not reveal, of course, until they make the public announcement. Why would anyone want to go to a Final Cut Pro Global Summit if no new update is out? It's not a global summit. The global summit was the 10 road trips. I'm not going to that. The Creative Summit is one location in Cupertino with a visit from the Final Cut Pro team and probably a visit to Spaceship Campus. Global Summit's not the same as the Creative Summit. It's not the same. The Global Summit, there was 10 dates announced. Only the 5 in the United States, they canceled the ones over in Europe because it wasn't successful. It's not a summit. If you're dividing it up into 10, it's not a summit. Summit is one place, one time, like it was last year. Well, why would anyone go to a Final Cut Pro Global Summit if no new update is out? Of course there's going to be an update by November. You don't think any update is happening? If they have a global summit, there will be most likely a second update to Final Cut Pro, or at least a preview to an update to Final Cut Pro. Only one time did they have zero update at a Creative Summit. That was 2019. Nothing. It was completely a dud as far as Final Cut Pro updates go. 2017, 10.4. 2018, 10.4.4. 2019, zip, nothing. 2022 was the global summit when they went on a tour. No update there. 2023, 10.7. So 2017, 2018, and 2023 all had updates at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. 2024 will most likely have a second update or a preview, because in 2018 we had 10.4.4 preview. It was not out until December, 6 weeks later. So in 2018 we had a preview of Final Cut Pro. They can certainly do that. They could give us a preview, and they could even say, hey, it's not coming out until the first of the year. That's fine. They will have something new to show us. I think 2019 was just bizarre with no update. I will be glad when we can all discuss the awesome features in Final Cut Pro versus when we get great updates. It's been too long. It has been too long. But here's the thing. If you're on, thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. If you're on the Final Cut Pro train, okay, the Final Cut Pro train is not a speedy bullet train. It's a slow and steady train. So if you're on that train, that's not going to change. That's just the way it's going to be, at least for the time being. Could it change? Of course it can change. They can always change everything. For example, they have never updated Final Cut Pro at WWDC. Never. Final Cut Pro 10. Never, not even one time in 13 years have they updated Final Cut Pro at WWDC. What they have done is they've shown a pre-release version of Final Cut Pro on like the 2019 Mac Pro. They said this is a pre-release version of Final Cut Pro is coming out later in the year. Well, it came out in December, 6 months after WWDC. But there's never been a Final Cut Pro release, update release at WWDC during that week. Never happened. I've checked the dates. They've never happened. So can it happen in 2024? Of course it can. Of course it can. Is it likely to happen? No. No, it's not likely, but it's not impossible. It's not likely, but of course they can do whatever the heck they want. In my opinion, any form of summit should have great training on new features rather than breakout rooms on products people sell for Final Cut Pro. Well, I understand. They have both. They have both. For example, some of the things, third-party people subsidize the price of the Creative Summit, the vendors, okay? I know that Cormelt does, and some of the other third-party vendors, they subsidize to bring the price down. Can you imagine how expensive it is to have rooms for 300 people, not hotel rooms. They just take care of the staff and some of the trainers, but organizing a hotel in Cupertino, how the expense of that is to accommodate 300 people. Well, I'm not 300, 150 to 200 people plus staff. So 200 people, rooms, organize, get trainers. They bring in trainers from overseas. They bring in trainers from Australia, from overseas in England sometimes. Can you imagine the expense of that? How expensive that would be? Well, last year, they got help from Apple, plus the third-party vendors. So the third-party vendors are a part of keeping your price down for your ticket. The price for the Creative Summit used to be $1,000 or so. Okay, last year was $299, 1/3 of what it used to be because Apple pitched in some money and the third-party vendors, the sponsors, help bring your price of your ticket down. So would you rather pay more money and not have the third-party vendors pitch in? I wouldn't. I would not. So just FYI, thank you very much for the thumbs up. It is appreciated. Absolutely. Let's give you all, everybody, this audience is the best audience. This is the best Phonica Pro Live audience of any Phonica Pro live stream. This is the best. You, each and every one of you are the best. Fantastic. We got 50 people watching live right now. It's great. Fantastic. So sometimes 10.7, I don't know if there was 10.7. Did they have? Yeah, they had 10.7 on the iPad. People were showing that. Somebody was showing that. Thank you very much for thumbs up. It's another one. Got 20 thumbs up already. Fantastic. So anyway, it's really early to talk about the Creative Summit. Okay, it's only April, May. We might hear something by June. But you can pretty well bet on it's going to be the first, second week of November. It's not going to be later because of Thanksgiving in the United States. So the first or second week. What day of the week it is? No idea. If we're going back to Apple Campus, is probably going to be the same. It's going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because Monday, from what I understand, more people, thank you very much for the thumbs up, more people work from home on Mondays, so there's less people at the actual campus. So that was it was extremely cool to go there last year. But we don't need another tour of the outside. I'm going to see more inside stuff, and I'd like to get into the Steve Jobs Theater, or if they have a separate theater that's a little smaller. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. You're the best. I don't mind the third-party stuff. Let me see. Back to this comment. Tyler says, I don't mind the third-party stuff. I actually quite enjoy it. But then the 2 years I have been there seemed like advertisements, Ripple Training, and that's it. Well, Ripple Training doesn't, they do some of their products, but they're a very popular people that do presentations. So, well, you can make comments to Future Media Concepts and some of the programs you like to see. It's great to see all those features coming out, the next version of Phonica Pro I'm holding out. What features? I'm really happy to check out the Apple campus, but all the way inside. Well, we got inside, but the tour was basically outside. The two tours that we have are basically outside with the plants and the structure, which is interesting, but we don't need to see that again. Yeah, let me in them secret spots. Let me go into Tim Cook's office. That's what I'd like to see, at least from the outside. So no, the main thing is perhaps go into, we were inside, they had fantastic spread. They had food and desserts and coffee and Cokes and all kinds of drinks. That was all inside. Don't get me wrong. We spent a lot of time. The Final Cut Pro team presentation was also inside. Don't get me wrong. That's the way it is. But yeah, let's see a little more of the inside stuff. I'm a bit concerned what I'm hearing from the people I know in the Pro Apps team, a lot of chatter about them drastically reducing the size of the team. It's already been drastically reduced. They can't reduce it anymore. Can't reduce it anymore. I am just joking. Will Final Cut get log wheels in the color tools? I'm not sure. Log wheels? You mean for LUTs and stuff? When I mention Ripple Training, they're the only ones educating people at the summit on how to advance your knowledge and how to actually use Final Cut Pro, whereas everybody else wants to sell you a tool. No, that's not the case, Tyler. You went to the wrong sessions. Of course, Ripple Training trains, but there's lots of training. Ian Anderson's a trainer. He trains her all the time. He's not selling you products. He's not selling you products. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's fantastic. I'm glad you're watching. Thanks for watching. It adds to the viewer count. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. 53 people are watching right now. You're adding to the viewer count. It's fantastic. Thank you very much. So, no, it's not. It's not the case where, here we go, we're getting at 57 people. It's not the case where you're giving the wrong impression to people. I've been there every time. I've been there 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2023. It's not all third-party app developers trying to sell you their product. There's a couple of sessions because they're major sponsors. If you're a major sponsor of the Creative Summit, you get to have a session about your products. But there's only one or two major sponsors. Everybody else is showing you things. Roger Bolton showed off his product last time. He was a major sponsor. It's a very cool product. It's all Final Cut Pro related, but Ian Anderson he shows stuff. He might plug his plugin, but that's not what he's showing. He has two or three. Everybody else, as a matter of fact, let me go over there and I'll bring up the last year's. Let me see this. Last year's agenda, and we'll go over what they were. Let me see. Future Media Concepts. Hey. So last year, Motion VFX was the main support. Let me see. Chat with support. I just looked at this. Let me pull this up a second here. So $299. It's a fantastic price. So here, let's look at this. Who the sponsors are for the Creative Summit. Let's look at this. Okay. Produced by Future Media Conferences, training in association with Apple. Big person who brought the ticket prices down. NAB show was also there. Now we have Core Mount, Motion VFX, and Hedge. Marketing sponsors. There you go. Final Cut TV, Final Cut Pro Radio. We're marketing sponsors, but these are only, and then we had raffle sponsors. Now let me see something here. Why? Oh, here we go. Speakers, program. Let's look at the program. Okay, here's the program. Keynote with iJustine and Nick Haraz. There's no third party. There was no third party anything there. It was iJustine. Let me pull myself out of the way. Hold on a second. I'm just going to pull myself up here. There. So here we go. iPad production and editing experience, producing high quality YouTube content. No third party plug-in there, lunch break. By the way, they gave us free lunches, box lunches every single day. Okay. Then we had Apple Park visiting events, first shuttle, blah, blah, blah. Apple, last shuttle. Let's go back. Shaping the Future panel discussion. Jen Jager, Steve Martin, Chris Hawking, Andy Toe. No third-party plugin sponsorship there or presentation. Warp Speed editing techniques in Final Cut Pro with Mark Spencer. Let's grade. Let me close this down. Let's grade together with Jeff Greenberg. No third-party sponsorship in any of these so far. Sound advice, Steve Martin. Mastering transitions in Final Cut Pro in Motion, Jen Jager. Compress to Impress. None of these have third-party sponsorships. They're not selling you anything. iPhone workflows in Final Cut Pro, not third-party. Stunning graphics in Final Cut Pro in Motion, no third-party. Okay, PostLab is the first third-party that you're seeing presentation of. So this is what I'm saying. That's not the major part. It's not. It's just this minor part. Multicams, Final Cut Pro, Dylan Bates, footage and flat 360 footage and flat timelines. The ultimate Final Cut Pro tip session. By the way, I recorded that last year. I'm not going to put it up unless FMC wants me to. This was excellent. Making media inclusive for all with Storm Smith. It was an excellent. Then we had the Expo night. So my point is, no. The vast majority is not third-party plugins. It's completely instructive. It's all kinds of stuff. See, that makes me nervous. I hope Final Cut Pro doesn't go the way of Aperture. Listen, if you've watched these sessions at all, we had Final Cut Pro team, we had a Q&A session, okay, at the Creative Summit. I asked the first question. My first question was, well, I made a statement. I said, number one is thank you, whoever released the scrolling timeline. I thanked, they were a panel up there. And I said, the question is this. There's millions and millions of Final Cut Pro users, 5 million, whatever. I see this question over and over and over again. And the question was, is Final Cut Pro going to go the way of Aperture? I asked the Final Cut Pro team directly. They could see me. I walked up the center of the aisle so they could see who was talking. And I'm not saying that because I think that, because I see this question over and over and over again. Here's their answer. Unequivocally no. Not only do we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 6 months, we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 4, 5, 6 years. It's not going the way of Aperture. Forget about Aperture. Aperture is 10 years old at this point. I couldn't care less about Aperture. It's not going the way of Aperture. We got a lot of comments here. They should do a Final Cut Pro karaoke contest on the stage inside the circle. The winner gets free loaded Pro. There you go. That'd be fine. It's clear to me that there's a huge market for content creators where it talks about specific features is the key of success. Apple do things in a slow mode, but it almost always means leap moves. I love third-party companies at the summit. I'm not talking negatively about them. I'm just saying there is nowhere near their focus on training for Final Cut Pro as there is for Resolve. I'm not debating that. That's not what your debate was. No features of Final Cut Pro to teach about. Well, I showed you all the presentations for the first 2 days. There was no third party. It was one third party from Hedge. Everything else is about Final Cut Pro. You're talking about new features. I understand Final Cut Pro is a little behind other companies, especially Resolve. I'm not debating that, but you were mentioning third parties. I wish Apple would get more dudes just like the Ripple guys and iJustine girl to be spokesperson for Final Cut Pro. Not bad. Wish they had more in film and audio people representing. Yeah, there should be some more high-end stuff at this Creative Summit. Our friend Michael Yanovich was there last time talking about movies. He has a new movie out. By audio, I mean music video creators like me. Well, that's music video creation is Logic Pro. Logic Pro. Listen, if you want it, tell Future Media Concepts. Don't tell Apple because that's not what this is about. Tell Future Media Conferences what kind of programs you want to see. at the Creative Summit. But you start telling them now. Don't tell them a week before, because when everything's already scheduled. So you're telling them now. So. But anyway, that's a little bit off the subject because the Creative Summit hasn't been announced. And it's I'm just saying, based on experience, it's going to be the first, second week in November. What days of the week, I have no idea. They should just make Logic and Final Cut Pro one app. I talked to Grant Petty about how Resolve does that. He gave me some insight. Won't happen, but they could. They should. It might happen with Final Cut Pro 11. I don't think it's going to happen with 10. The 10 foundations of Final Cut Pro are 13 years old at this point. Let me pull this up. One of the people that I talked to, so this is very cool. Once again, a dialogue separator, dialogue level, voice isolation, music remixer. It's much, much, much more advanced than what Final Cut Pro has. Let me pull this up. I got to talk to Grant Petty at NAB. I'll play just a little bit of it, not a lot, just a little bit. Can I get a picture with you?
Yeah, no problem.
And by the way, fantastic
Thanks.
keynote Friday.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely fantastic. It was over 2 hours long.
Yeah, it was really long.
I love Resolve 19.
It just got longer, and it's like, well, what do? You kind of cut so much out that you don't make any sense.
Right.
It's a bit tough to know how much to cut out, but
Great job.
I'm glad it was useful. Like, that's the thing. I always think that, like, I've just sort of deliver all the detail, and some of it's good, most of it's good, you hope. Sometimes there's some caveats or not bad things, but like, oh, it can do this or can't do that. I reckon if you just get all the information out there, and everyone else can kind of work out, oh, yeah, okay, that's important, that fixes that, or this is that. You don't quite know. Like, when I was an engineer working in post, you kind of just tell people what's going on, and then they kind of know whether it's good or not. I don't actually, like, I'm hoping it's good. Like, we're going to find out pretty quickly if it's not.
Oh, sure.
Like, the replay stuff, I'm nervous as hell about the replay.
Is that right?
I've used it, and so I'm thinking it's good, but you don't know until guys are off. Even last night, I thought of a new way of doing, like, using it.
Sure.
So every time you use it, you go, oh, why aren't I doing this? I should be using an endpoint for that.
Sure.
So it's just a lot of reiteration. And being in DaVinci, it's good because it means we can keep changing it. But that's what makes me always nervous coming to the start of the show.
No.
If someone comes up and goes, oh, but you didn't do this. It's like, oh, God, I forgot to put, like, how could I be so stupid not to think of that?
No, I understand.
But that's the reality of coming here, isn't it?
Resolve 19 is fantastic.
I know. What I love about Resolve 19, it's particularly exciting. It was a huge risk putting Fusion and Fairlight in it. But now they're actually interacting. So you've got like a tracker from the video side, moving the audio, pounding the audio around on the audio side. And that's the bit that's really exciting. Because we had to.
So that's where he said they have a tracker from the video side to the audio side. I love the way Resolve has tabs for all their different apps. That is absolutely the best way to do an NLE, in my opinion. If Final Cut Pro 11 can do that, they have Motion on one tab, Compressor on one tab, Logic on one tab, Final Cut on one tab. That would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. 24 thumbs up, thank you very much. But anyway, I got to talk to Grant Petty. What happened was I asked him if I can take a picture. I'm holding the selfie stick in front of both of us. He could see, it was my iPhone 15 Pro Max screen in front of us. You could see you were being recorded. Both of us could. The red button's on there. And when I say picture, I don't take photographs. I record 4K video and then pick a frame or two from the 4K. But once he started talking, it turned into a 5-minute interview. He could see we were being recorded. I could, both of us knew we were being recorded. I'm sitting there holding it in front of us. He could see, and you could see the screen. So he knew he was being recorded. And at the end, he even gave a wave to the audience. So that's the complete version of that's on my YouTube channel. You can go watch it. Grant's a great guy. Makes you sad for the days when Apple would represent themselves at NAB. So it's Apple. you know, when Steve Jobs was alive, Apple stopped doing these live presentations like Macworld. They stopped Macworld. It used to be in January. They can reach a very wide audience on their when they have their presentations, millions and millions of people. But there's still, it's not the same as meeting people in person, shaking hands and talking in person. For the Final Cut Pro team, they've done it. 2017, 2018, 2019, they were there. They did presentations in the convention center. Why in the world they think that it's not important to show Final Cut Pro at NAB is beyond me. It's absolutely stunning, beyond me. Now, this year, if the reason is, hey, we're not going to release a new version of Final Cut Pro, now, of course, this would be secret. We're not going to release a new version of Final Cut Pro in time for NAB. We're going to have it out when the new iPad comes out. Okay, I understand that, but there's still can be a presence somewhere for Final Cut Pro. Sponsor a thank you party for the listeners. Take over the Guru Gathering like Steve Martin used to do. Do something. I mean, you've done it in the past. I mean, the Final Cut Pro is an Final Cut Pro 10 was previewed, sneak peeked at NAB at 2011 at the Super Meet. It was NAB not important those years, but not important the rest of the years? No, it's always an important event. They had, the last 2 years, they've had 62,000 attendees, about the same on both years. I really enjoy NAB. I got to meet somebody from the Final Cut Pro team. Let me just see. Somebody from the Final Cut Pro team at let me pull this up. I got to meet somebody from the Final Cut Pro team at NAB. Well, he used to be on the Final Cut Pro team. Steve Bays. I did get to meet you this time.
I know. I didn't really have a place to hang out. I'm just basically walking.
Well, there's no Final Cut Pro news, that's why. There's no Final Cut Pro centric.
I'm going to have to talk to those guys.
No, you do that. So I did get to meet Steve Bays, but he's a former Final Cut Pro team lead person. But there was, I said I didn't see anybody from the Final Cut Pro team, but I did meet an engineer from the Final Cut Pro team at the Strata party. I did meet somebody. I forgot that I did meet somebody from there at the. It was Michael Cioni's new company, Strata. We went to the party Saturday night, I think it was. At the Social Fight Club. Estelle was from the Final Cut Pro team.
Okay, there it is. That's it. He's the guy. Right there.
So that was Michael Cioni's company, Strata Company. He had a party Saturday night. I did meet a Final Cut Pro engineer at that party with Estelle. He was with Estelle, but they didn't catch his name. So I did meet somebody, and I met Steve Bays and Estelle, who used to be on the product as well. So anyway, I'm calling it Final Cut Pro 10.7.2 on May the 7th, which is a Tuesday. Now, once again, am I really super confident of that? No, I'm not. Would I make a bet, a coffee bet? Sure. Yeah. I'll bet you a coffee that we're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th. Here's the reason. If they don't do it on May the 7th, they're not very likely to do it at WWDC So then we're into the dog days of summer when everybody goes on vacation and nothing happens in Final Cut Pro land. Zero news, typically. So I'm saying they're going to do it May the 7th. What was May 2023? What happened in May 2023 1 year ago? Final Cut for iPad came out, and an update to Final Cut Pro came out in last year, 1 May, one year. I hope you get to enjoy the NAB parties, not always worried about the interviews. There's a couple of interviews that I did Luma Fusion and Hedge. Sam Messman is with Hedge this year at NAB, and I went to a lot of parties. Well, I don't drink, so the parties are just for camaraderie. Of course, I went to different parties. Let me see here. So here's another party I went to. A lot of people at this party. This is not a Final Cut Pro crowd. Hey, I'm recording right now.
Right now, I'm live.
No, not live. No, not live. Just recording.
Yay!
4K video. I love this thing.
Nice.
Isn't that nice?
Magic.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Cheers.
How you doing?
Good. I like the camera there, man.
It's recording.
Oh,
4K video. Right. It's so, I love this. So I went to that was the FMC's content creator party on Sunday night. I went to Michael Chione's party on Saturday night. I went to the filmmakers. Was it the filmmakers I went to on Monday? They had it actually in a bowling alley. It was actually really cool in a bowling alley. So I do go to different parties, but here's what happens. I had a list of 15, 16 different parties that were available. I run out of energy mid-afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and I usually go back to my hotel room. Well, once I get to my hotel room, I kind of stay there, but not if there's a specific party. I'll go back and rest, accumulate my stuff from my cameras and put it on these 4 terabyte drives, these little crucial X9 terabyte drives, and to back them up. And then might do some video editing. Then I'll go out for the evening to one event. Sometimes there's 2 and 3 events. I just can't get to them all. So I did, used to be a FCPX Guru Gathering. Steve Martin was in charge of that. He had it at the, what was that place? I forget what it was called. Different years. And that was always cool because there was a lot of Final Cut Pro people, Final Cut Pro gurus. That was a good thing to get, to have. Super Meet's another one that I would always go to because it's a wide swath of people, a lot of Final Cut Pro people. That was another one. Well, there's no Super Meet. There's no Super Meet. And there's no Guru Gathering. There's no Final Cut Pro centric event for the last 2 NABs. 0 Final Cut Pro buzz at NAB. So, even if there wasn't an update, they can still do, like they did in 2017 and 2018, what major feature films are being worked on with Final Cut Pro, any kind of Final Cut Pro news. They could still just be there to meet the users. You got 5 million users at this point, probably. Apple should unify Motion in Final Cut Pro also. Right, that's what I'm saying. So it would not surprise me. It would pleasantly, it would be a pleasant surprise if they incorporated Motion, Compressor, Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and is there anything else? I already said Motion. Into one app, the way that Resolve is one app. And whatever way they do it, it's much better than the clunky export FCP XML, import FCP XML, export it. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's the wrong version. Sometimes there's errors. They make it very, very difficult. It's very clunky. This is the backyard. That is the backyard. I don't see much activity out there right now. So what do you think? Do you think that we're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th? I think so. I think so. A new version of Final Cut for iPad. I'm not going to buy Final Cut. I'm not going to buy the iPad Pro. I wouldn't even think about buying it till after WWDC to see if they announce an M4 MacBook Pro coming out later this year. If they have a new MacBook Pro coming out later this year with Thunderbolt 5, I won't buy the iPad Pro. I'll just wait for the M4 version of the MacBook Pro with Thunderbolt 5. I'll wait for that version and just hold off because I'm doing fine with my MacBook Pro right now. And I would not spend the $2,000 or whatever it's going to be for the iPad Pro. I just save that money for the MacBook Pro because I'm definitely going to get an 8 terabyte drive this time. I'm absolutely going to get an 8 terabyte drive. I just really like editing off of the MacBook Pro. It's very, very fast. Very fast. Here's our friend Chuck Braverman. I had to leave NAB early this year, which was a bummer. There's always next year, but still new Final Cut at NAB. I've just started a new project in Resolve for the first time. I've done projects in Resolve. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I've done projects for Resolve. Since our friend Chuck Braverman is there, let's put his video up from NAB, the interview with Chuck. I'm going to put the full interview up a little bit later.
Oh, I know something I saw I can talk about.
You know what?
Something I want to talk about.
Okay. We can talk about whatever we want. But NAB, what? At the end, we'll plug your document, your show.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we are, NAB 2024. Every year at NAB 2024, I message you and say you're going to NAB. I don't know until like the last minute, and then you show up like magic, which happened again this year, right?
Well, you know, I don't know. Yes, I haven't been here in like 3 or 4 years since before the pandemic.
Right.
And somehow I was under the impression that there weren't going to be many people here. But as you can see, there's only probably 75 or 80,000 people, and I think they're all in this hallway right here.
They're all waiting to Black Magic. Yeah, the South Hall seems to be the most popular hall because they're the anchor.
Black Magic is doing some remarkable innovation with cameras, with non-linear editing, with switchers, and I sound like I represent them, which I don't. But yeah, I think it's great that they're doing this stuff, and I think they're pushing, you know,
So I'm a big fan of DaVinci Resolve. I buy.
So there's our friend Chuck Braverman, who I ran into at NAB. I didn't run into a Jeff or Bio for some reason. We didn't connect up, and I met some other people from Final Cut Pro TV viewers at NAB. They've identified themselves. They saw me and we sat down and chatted. But there's just no central Final Cut Pro event. It's just, it should at least be a dinner or something. I mean, you know, put out a few $1,000 and somebody from Final Cut Pro, they can get somebody. I mean, I don't think Steve Martin's going to do it again. He hasn't done it for years. So, and Super Meet was, for the second year in a row, was put on the website, but was canceled. I think it's still up. I think it's still up for 2024. Of course, it got canceled. It's an expensive proposition. So anyway, I did see, matter of fact, I got a video. I got some more videos coming out of NAB stuff. I ran into Emery Wells from Frame.io. He was very, very cordial. He did a lot of explaining. About 10 minutes we talked about stuff for Frame.io, and he showed me some demonstrations. Of course, Hedge. As a matter of fact, let me just put this up. These are the sponsors. These are the sponsors from that get me to go to NAB. Hedge, Future Media Conferences, Luma Touch, big sponsor, and our friend Roger Bolton from Coremount. Now, Roger didn't even go to NAB, and he's still sponsored Final Cut TV. That's how good a person he is. He didn't even go to NAB, and he's still sponsored Final Cut TV to go to NAB. Now, we're going to have Roger on the show when he has a new product to announce, since he didn't get his interview at NAB itself. But we interviewed Luma Touch, and we interviewed Hedge, and we're going to play a more complete version. I just got 5-minute, 6-minute, 7-minute versions of interviews while NAB was happening, so they get some benefit. But I'm going to put more complete versions of both Hedge and Luma Touch, Luma Fusion, coming up. In the next week or so. Let's, as a matter of fact, let's watch this. Let me see where that is. Here's an interview with Hedge, a quick one.
If you shoot us an email.
Okay.
But if you still have the issue, just reach out.
Okay.
I make sure that everything keeps working in offshoot.
But I love offshoot. I use it all the time.
Awesome.
Like right here, I'm filming 2 and 3 different cameras, and I have 2 4 terabyte little teeny crucial X9 hard drives. I love them.
Okay.
Plug them both in, make a copy to both of them, then erase.
Yeah.
I feel confident, you know.
Just cloning the cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did several interviews with Hedge. I did probably about a 20-minute interview with Luma Fusion. They have a new version coming out this summer. And one of the things that they have as they do add-on packages. Instead of doing subscriptions, they do add-on packages. And they did multicam as an add-on. And as a matter of fact, let me pull this up before I forget. Hold on a second. Hold on one second. Ta-da! Luma Fusion is having a sale May 2nd to the 6th, 30% off. 30% off. May 2 to May 6th. Now, here is what is interesting. Notice that date ends on May the 6th. It's the day before May the 7th when Apple does their presentation. This is why I'm saying, this is another hint that we're going to get an new iPad update for the iPad, a new Final Cut Pro update for the iPad. This ends on May the 6th, the day before. So our friend Chuck says, what is the multicam hedge package? Multicam Luma Fusion package. The Luma Fusion. Luma Fusion, if you, Chuck, just go on YouTube and punch in Luma Fusion multicam, and you'll see how fantastic the multicam for Luma Fusion is. It rivals full-fledged NLEs. It's really, really good. Steve Martin says it's better than the iPad version of multicam, and it is. It's a lot better than the Final Cut for iPad version of multicam. Luma Fusion has one product. They're a small team dedicated. They have one product. They're all about touch. For the iPad, for the iPhone, for Android, for Chromebooks, and for M1 Max. Luma Fusion runs on M1 Max. So the multicam, the version, add-on package for Luma Fusion is a $20 add-on package that lets you edit multicam in Luma Fusion. It's well worth it. I think that's going to be 30% off too. It said 30% off. That's a good chunk of change. You get Luma Fusion for $19. It's dead simple, no-brainer. I don't care if you don't use it for a year. Buy it for $19. Keep it in your arsenal. It also runs on M1 Max. It also runs on M1 Max. But it runs on my old version of my old iPad Air 2, something like that. Final Cut for iPad only works on the most recent ones. Jeff Arbaio says, I really like what Strata is doing. I believe it's still in beta. If it's something I've been looking for a while now, yeah. So it is pretty cool. It is absolutely pretty darn cool. Bruce Babcock. Hi, Bruce. How you doing? Hey, Richard. I haven't had time to join in a while, so I'm glad to be tuning in today. Thank you for joining us. Of course, you can always watch after the fact on YouTube, and I think YouTube is the main place. So here's something interesting. I was contacted by YouTube 6 weeks ago. Pollen. It's so bizarre. I spent 4 days at Las Vegas, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I came back Wednesday. No problems. No sniffles, no nothing. Now, I'm meticulous about washing my hands. I'm a constant hand washer. All day long. When I shake hands, I go wash my hands. No problems the whole time I'm at NAB in Las Vegas. When my plane starts to land in Maryland, I start getting this tickle in my throat. And I've had it ever since because of the pollen count. Very, very high pollen count this time of year. Oak trees and this tree and that tree. And it gets into my throat and it just stays there for a couple of weeks or whatever. But anyway, I was contacted by YouTube, I don't know, 7 weeks ago. And they said, hey, you should look at monetizing your channel. Okay? And when I looked into it, I said, I almost have 500,000 views. I'm almost at 500,000 views. I think I'm 490,000 some views right now of my videos. I had no idea. I had no idea there were that many views on my channel. So I said, all right, I'll jump through the hoops necessary because they take taxes out and all that stuff. And I'll be getting my first check sometime shortly. I'll let y'all know when it happens. I'm not going to be able to make a living off of this. I'm not looking to do that. But hey, if they want to send me $100 here and $100 there, it'll pay for my coffees or it'll pay for whatever I need when I go to NAB or the Creative Summit. That's fine. But yeah, I'm approaching 500,000 views on YouTube. So I never expected to do that. I do it because I enjoy it, because people show up for these events. We got almost 50 people watching live now. We got 25 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Absolutely. It's all you. You're the reason I'm here. But I enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy it. I enjoy coming on here. 26 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Absolutely. So let's say, I'm going to say May the 7th for Final Cut Pro 10.7.2. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. 27. Thank you very much. For the thumbs up. Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. I wouldn't place a $100 bet that it's going to happen, but I'd say there's a good chance we're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th. We're going to see it at the iPad event or shortly thereafter or whatever, but that's what I'm saying. I'm calling it now. If it doesn't happen, it'll happen sometime shortly thereafter, probably just whenever they feel like it. So, sometimes it feels like the Final Cut Pro update train is slower than everybody else, and it is. Everybody else is on a bullet train, and Final Cut Pro is steady, 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 but it's sometimes, most of the time, it's a little too slow for most of us. And it is what it is. I mean, that's what Final Cut Pro, that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do. But it still means we're going to get some cool updates, I hope. Did you see, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch the portion of the video I did with Resolve 19. And they have an expanded audio enhancement section. A very, very cool expanded audio enhancement section. Not only the voice isolation, I forget what they call it. It not only brings, it does three things. It has voice mixed in there. It has background mixed in there. And then it has ambiance, which you might consider echo or reverb mixed in there. 3 separate sliders. Now, it's not, thank you very much, 29 thumbs up. It's not 100% perfect, and the more you apply it, it might have artifacts, but it's pretty darn cool. You can do the background removal separate from the ambiance removal. Very, very cool. I'd love to see Final Cut Pro get that because I use it all the time, and sometimes it's not quite what I want. I think Final Cut Pro was advanced for so long it didn't need a lot of updates, but with the advent of AI absolutely now behind. So Nomad, it always needs updates. It always have needed updates. Right from the very beginning, it needed updates. It has a lot of things. Scrolling timeline, perfect example. 13 years it took to get the scrolling timeline. 13 years to get the scrolling timeline. How long did it take? Here's the list I have. Top request. This has been 100 features that I've wanted to see in Final Cut Pro since it came out. It's always needed. It's always, right from the get-go, it's needed. It didn't even have multicam when it first came out. Okay? Didn't even have multicam. But I'm just saying, a mixing board, text-based editing, project improvements, there's tons of things that Final Cut still needs. B-Raw. How many times have you heard B-Raw? How about a clipboard manager? How about a clipboard in Final Cut Pro where you can save effects and save notes and a note package and stuff? Yes, it was, when it first came out, it was innovative, but a lot of people jumped ship and left behind. It's always needed features. But I'm not saying this is specific to the Final Cut Pro. I could do the same list with Premiere. I could do the same list with Avid. It's just that I don't want to. I don't care about them as much as I do Final Cut Pro. Now, if I did a second list at this point, it'd be with Resolve. I've already said I'd like to see a range selection in the Resolve edit page. If it's there, it might be. I couldn't find it. I want to select a range like with the R tool, like you can with Final Cut Pro, and delete, copy, paste, whatever. Just select a range. It's much quicker than setting an in and out point. They have it in Fairlight. Interestingly, they have a range selection in the audio page, but they don't have it that I can find in the edit page. So that's just one example. I'd like to see an improvement in Resolve. Before 19 came out, I wanted a scrolling timeline in the edit page. They have it in the cut page. They call it a stationary playhead, and that's more accurate. The playhead stationed is glued to the center of the timeline, and everything rolls underneath of it. They didn't have it for the edit page. They now have it for the edit page. So the fact that I spend a lot of time compiling a top 100 list for Final Cut Pro is because I like Final Cut Pro and I use it. I don't use Premiere. I really couldn't care less about the Adobe ransom model. It's a horrible, horrible model that doesn't care about their customers. It's a terrible model. They hold you ransom for the rest of your life. You can never get out of it if you want to edit videos in Premiere. It's the worst ransom model of any of the subscriptions. But I do Final Cut because I care about Final Cut. Top 100 things. I could do any of them. How about opening up compound clips for editing right in the timeline instead of jumping to another timeline? How about that? How about buying third-party plugins right from Final Cut Pro itself? Batch sync audio and video clips. How about that? This is one. Keyframeable opacity bar with fade handles for direct manipulation on a video clip like the volume slider bar and fade handles are in all audio clips. On video, they have it on the audio. I like to see it on the video, so I don't have to open up Control-C to open up, Control-V to open up that thing they have in the timeline. Yeah. So it had, when it came out, it was innovative, but it hasn't been the same things that made it innovative when it came out they no longer apply. It's been 13 years. Batch sync, much needed. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a lot of things. There's some of the things third-party people are taking over, but I don't want a skeletal Final Cut Pro app that needs third-party apps to be considered full-featured. I don't want that. I don't mind supporting third parties for titles, absolutely. Transitions, absolutely. But not the basic functions. I mean, dupe detection took 12 years. Industry standard dupe detection took 12 years. Scrolling timeline took 13 years. Am I glad both of those are in there? Absolutely. Let's hear it for the Final Cut Pro team. But you can't call either one of those innovative when it's taken so long. It's kind of like, it's just catch-up. It's catch-up. There's a roles-based mixer, audio mixer. All the other entities have mixers. Final Cut Pro 7 had a mixer. 10, 13 years later, there's no mixer. No mixer. So there's lots of things that it needs. Everybody knows. That's okay. Let's talk about 10.7.2 on May the 7th. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it that date, May the 7th. We'll see. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We'll have to wait till another date. But I think they're going to have an update now, and I think they're very likely to have a second update around the Creative Summit in November, which is about 6 months away, 6 months apart. That gives us 2 feature updates in 2024. I'm telling the Final Cut Pro team, we need 2 feature updates per year, okay? The less feature updates you have, the bigger I expect the feature updates to be, okay? So we had 10.7 at the end of 2023. It had 4 or 5 features, scrolling timeline and some other features, scrolling timeline being the biggest one for me. It's now 6 months later, there's been no activity on Final Cut whatsoever as far as the public can see. A bug fix on December the 21st, radioed silence since then. So it's time. I think May the 7th will be 10.7.2. What will they have? No idea. No idea what they're going to put in there, but they could surprise us with a few things. What would you like to see in 10.7.2? What would you like to see? That was a bluebird. Eastern bluebirds we have around here. There's he's back again. He or she, I think it's a he. Pretty little bluebird. There's another one. No, that's a woodpecker. You can't see it because it's behind the seed cage. There he is. Yeah, it's a woodpecker. Look at that. Bright red head. Got a long beak. Very, very nice. Pretty little bird. Anyway, the Final Cut Pro train is not the bullet train. The bullet train or Resolve 19. Maybe Premiere is. I don't know. I passed by Avid two or three times, and I just watched a couple of seconds of people presenting, but it's not really that interesting to me. So it's okay. It's a professional application. It's proven itself, but doesn't the company been bought out? I don't know what's going to happen. Transcription, text-based editing, batch sync, some sort of magic mask roto that's more advanced than the current. Background removal would be a nice bonus, but I don't expect it. What don't you expect? So you don't expect the roto mask. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't use it that much. We'll have to see if that works. But I think text-based editing and auto transcriptions are going to be coming in. Transcriptions that make captions and stuff, and it'll be a good, solid version of it. Batch sync, but a mixing board, absolutely. I'd like to see that. Do you think we're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th, listeners? I think we're going to get a surprise from the Final Cut Pro team. A May surprise. 10.7.2. I don't know what the Final Cut for iPad version is. It would not surprise me at some point to get, if Final Cut for iPad is announced, that you can buy a perpetual license. It would not surprise me. Once again, don't leave money on the table. And here's what I mean by that. Yes, $4.99 is a great price for a subscription for Final Cut for iPad. But there's some people that won't do that. You know why? Because this is what it's like with all the subscriptions. They're like all over the place, subscriptions, dozens and dozens. Some of us are tired of subscriptions. $4.99, $5 a month is a very reasonable rate. But some people won't do that. But they would pay $49 one-time purchase, say for 1 year of updates or 2 years of updates. I don't think they'll pay $99. Maybe they would pay $99 if you said, this is how you do it, $99 is a perpetual license. We will give you 2 years of updates with that $99. At the end of the 2 years, if you don't subscribe or pay an additional $99 for an additional 2 years, the app will continue to work at whatever level it is in 2 years. Not the app will stop working because you're not paying a monthly ransom. That's the distinction. And you're leaving money on the table because some people are not going to buy the subscription, but they would buy the perpetual license. So do the perpetual license for Final Cut for iPad. You do both. Do the subscription and give people the option for a perpetual license. I just don't want another subscription, especially from a company like Apple, who's the richest company in the world, tech company in the world, one of them. You don't need my $4.99 a month. Now, the Final Cut Pro team needs money. The iPad team and Final Cut Pro team needs money. So let's charge for full feature updates. Give us a nice full feature update. Charge us for that. That's fine. The way Luma Fusion does. They charge for their add-on packs. By the way, the Luma Fusion, I want to mention this. Luma Fusion has version 5 coming out. And I think it's version 5. But it's a new update coming out this summer. And like the multicam pack that you can buy, $20, you can get, there's a brand new feature, which I'm absolutely going to get. It's for keyframing. And it's a separate interface for keyframing. It's very advanced. It's leaps and bounds better than what Final Cut has for keyframing. For Final Cut, not for Motion. Motion keyframers is very, very advanced. So go on YouTube and put in Luma Fusion. What do they call it? I'm not sure the pack. It's version 5, I think it is, and it has some really, really cool. It's a very advanced keyframing and slow motion, and you can make still frames pack. It's going to be $20, probably going to be 30% off. I think that one graphic that I showed you, it said 30% off. I don't know if that's just Luma Fusion is 30% off or the plug-in packs are 30% off. But I interviewed them and I saw the demonstration of that new pack they're having. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. Let me see if I have them here. Let me see if I have it here. I'll play you a little bit. Let me just pull this up. Here we go.
Stir the sky.
Yeah. We're here.
All right, here we are. NAB 2024. Can you believe it?
No.
It's fantastic. And you have your own booth. Luma Fusion has their own booth in the South Hall upper
floor. Yep. Come back to the Creator Lab. So
back to the Creator Lab. So it's number SU 4142.
Okay.
Just go past Abbott and straight on down all the way back.
That's exactly right. Go quickly past Abbott and straight on down.
So you must have something to talk about since you have your own booth and you're at NAB again. So
Well, first of all, we just come to NAB because we love it.
well, that's the other. That's very true. I do the exact same thing.
But we do have some new features coming out with 5.0 of Luma Fusion. We have keyframe easing and Bezier curves, so you can make any path you want, and you can have your media moving from point to point at different speeds, and it's all manually controlled with a beautiful new interface. And along with that comes the ability to do speed ramping. So this has been like the #1 feature people
I was going to say, people have been requesting that, haven't they?
Yeah.
So there we go. Sorry about that. So here's what it says. Luma Fusion Spring Sale will run from Thursday, May 2nd through Monday, May the 6th with 30% off the price of the app and Multicam Studio. So both the app and Multicam Studio are 30% 20% off. Now, I'm not sure if the FCP XML is, I'm not sure if that's included. It doesn't say it is, but the multicam, get the multicam studio. Get Luma Fusion for $19. You cannot beat it. If you don't use it right now, get it for $19. It's a really, really, really good app. And the other thing is, it runs on M1 Max. So in next week or the week after, no, next week, $19 for a new NLE. It runs on M1 Max. They have a person that works on that, on M1 Max, that makes sure that there's no shortcomings with the version of the Macintosh. It runs on a Mac. It runs on an iPad, runs on an iPhone, runs on Android devices, runs on Chromebooks, and it runs on M1 Max. Final Cut for iPad only works on the latest model iPad. That's it. That's it. The latest model iPad. And it's also a subscription. So $4.99 is $5 a month is certainly reasonable. If I was using it, though, I would not let that subscription run from month to month to month, unless if the iPad was my main editing device, I would let that run if that was the only thing I was editing on. But I like my MacBook Pro. I like my MacBook Pro. What else do you think we're going to see in 10.7.2? I mean, I have no idea. I'm not confident that we're going to see. I have no idea what the features are going to be. It's got to be a feature update. No sense in putting out a bug fix update. If they put a bug fix update out between now and when the iPad version comes out, that would be just ridiculous. I'm quite confident we're going to see 10.7.2 on May the 7th. Quite confident of that. 100%? No, not 100%. But I'm confident we're going to see it. 10.7.2 feature update by May the 7th. What's going to be in there? I have no idea. But I do want to say this once again. I'm going to get accolades to the Final Cut Pro team. Accolades to the Final Cut Pro team. We think you're doing a great job. We just want more of it. We want more of the great job that you're doing. That's all. All right, everyone. We've been on for 2 hours. We have lots and lots of live views. You're helping me reach 500,000 views on YouTube, which is, I just, listen. I'm fine financially. Do I like getting money from YouTube? Sure. I like getting money from anywhere. That's fine. And, it'll buy me coffee when I go to NAB next year. I'm looking forward to NAB 2025. I'm looking forward to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in November. Looking forward to all that stuff. But I learned, here's one of the things. I keep on modifying my setup. So I have this ball head on I have a monopod that has legs, so it could be like a tripod. And I had this ball head that I was using for a couple of years. It's working very well. It holds up to, I don't know, 10 pounds. I have to put that up because Michael Cioni talked about this at a creative summit. At a NAB. We have Stockholm Syndrome. We love our tormentors. He talked about Apple and the Stockholm Syndrome we have, the relationship we have, yes. But I have this ball head I have a monopod, an iFootage Cobra 3 monopod, which I love. It's a monopod, it collapses, it fits in my suitcase, it has feet, I can let it stand by itself, it holds my iPhone, it holds my Lumix S5 Mark IIX if I bring that, but I don't bring that to NAB because I don't need it. And I had this nice ball head that I've had for a couple of years. It works really well because not only is it a ball head, but when the ball head is not adjustable because they have a adjustment on the side, when it's not being adjusted, you can still rotate it, the whole ball head, 360 degrees, so I can pan across the room. It doesn't have any handles or anything, so I just just rotate it around, but it's really steady. Well, I got an upgraded one. I thought it was an upgraded one by Newer or Small Rig or somebody, and it had a handle, so I could rotate it easier. But the problem was the ball section, it had a 10% swivel adjustment, and it didn't hold very well. It did not hold very well. So when I put my Insta360 gimbal on top with the iPhone, it would fall over to the side, and I had to keep on tightening it and tightening it and tightening it. It's not heavy enough for that setup. So the heck with that. I'm not using that anymore. And I went back to the ball head, which is much more stable and it holds everything fine. That's just one of the adjustments. I also have my, as you guys know, my DJI Mic 2 system, which is the best mic system by far. It is superb system. It's just so much better than the Rode system. It's just tiny little transmitters, 32-bit float. It all has everything in this real nice case, metal case, charging case. You can charge up 2 or 3 times. Fantastic. And then I got the DJI Action 4 camera that I wear when I'm just recording kind of everything. It records in 4K, it records in, is it M-Log, something or other? And I record it in log. It does slow motion videos, the whole 9 yards. Well, let me just play one more quick video for you. This is with Emery from Frame.io.
See, these are the metadata fields. So you can now add any metadata fields you want to an asset. So
Okay.
if I come in here to fields, you can see that, like, let's say, for that, exactly what I was just talking about. We're gonna create a new field. So this doesn't exist. I'm gonna call this the platform field, right? And I'm gonna choose the data type. We have a bunch of different data types.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it single select. And I'm going to say, this is Facebook, Instagram.
So even though there wasn't Final Cut Pro specific, and I met one person from the Final Cut Pro team, an engineer. He was a tall guy. I met him with Estelle over there at the Strata party, but I didn't catch his name. I didn't see anybody else from the Final Cut Pro team the whole time I was at NAB. Were they there? I'm sure they were. But since there is nothing central, there's no Final Cut Pro centric event. I was at the parties. I went to this party. I was in the halls every single day. I didn't see any of them. I did not see any of people from the Final Cut Pro team. I'm sure they were there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I didn't run into anybody. You really have to pay attention to NAB. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for us users, so we have some place to go. Throw a little dinner, even if there's no updates. Say we're going to have a FCPX Guru gathering where all the Final Cut Pro people can get together and have dinner and talk Final Cut Pro and shop, et cetera, and meet some of the Final Cut Pro team. That would be very cool. That would give us 2 times a year. We get to see them at the Creative Summit, and we get to see them at NAB. NAB is an important event. 61,000. It's an important event. So there's 2 things I'm predicting. We're going to see 10.7.2 at May the 7th. I'm not predicting it. I just think that's a possibility. I'm not overly confident we're going to see that, but I'm fairly confident that would be an optimal time to see Final Cut Pro 10.7.2 with the new iPads. And the other thing that I'm talking about is Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, first, second week of November 2024. We'll see if either one of those happen. I'm confident about the second one. I'm sure, as long as the world doesn't blow up between now and then. We'll see Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in November, first, second week of November. It won't be Thanksgiving because we have Thanksgiving a couple of days after that. Any questions about Final Cut Pro? Do you have a comment to make? The Final Cut Pro team is watching. Final Cut Pro team, thank you very much. We love what you're doing. We just want to see a little bit more of it. more features updated whenever you can get them to us. So hopefully not, it won't, well, probably won't be this week. It'll be the week after, the Tuesday after. The 7th of May. That's what we're looking at. Anything else? Let's go over there and check good old X. Let's see if we're doing something for X. I didn't post that? What the heck? I thought I did. I thought I did post it. "35 posts. Let me just go over here and see if there's any posts on, oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got 33 people watching us over there on Twitter, on X, which is very cool. So I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see, this is what I always do. Home. So here's one of the things that we'll talk about for a minute. I do not like iPhone cages. I do not like iPhone cages. Okay, it's so, I have 3 or 4 cages for my iPhone. If I'm going to use the iPhone, even with a lens or ND filter, I'm just going to hold it like this. And I film. I don't like buying a cage to do this. Now, the only disadvantage with this is I can't get to the USB-C port for Pro Audio or SSD drives. So in that case, yes, but I just don't find myself holding the phone with a cage or without a cage. I use a gimbal 95% of the time. I like the way a gimbal works. I like the stability that it offers. It's much better than hand holding with the cage. Much better. I have 2 gimbals, one for lightweight work, and if I put a lens on it, I put audio and SDs and stuff, I have a bigger gimbal with a bigger cage. So I put it in a cage, but I put the cage inside of a bigger gimbal. Cage with a top handle makes for some really cool low angle shots. Yes, it does, but it's not as, it's hardware stabilization of a gimbal is much better than the built-in stabilization on the iPhone. So I can do the low angle shots with my Insta360. I just extend it out and hold it upside down. It flips over and I can do a low angle shot with the gimbal. The gimbal is just much, much better. It produces much more stable shots. I have a cage for the iPhone 15. I have a bigger universal cage if I'm doing a big setup. But the time I get done adding Pro Audio and adding SSDs and adding lenses and adding neutral density filters, I might as well use my Lumix S5 Mark IIX. I mean, if I'm going to get that involved and the cage gets built out bigger and bigger and heavier, I might as well use a Lumix. I can shoot 6K with it. Prime lenses, not that big. Pro Audio, I can do XLR audio in it, or I can just use the DJI mic. When I get to the point where I'm building this thing out so it's extravagant and it's heavy, it's bulky, I'm using my Lumix. That's just me. Some people like cages, but I don't care what kind of cage you have. Your hand holding it, it's going to be shaky. Up and down, left and right, going down from below, and it's going to be shaky. It's not as stable as using a gimbal. I just prefer a gimbal by far. 90% of what I shoot on my phone is a gimbal. But I have cages, but the gimbal is better. Do you think we'll get a new Final Cut Pro update during the next Apple event? Yes, I do. 10.7.2, May the 7th. May the 7th, Final Cut Pro 10.7.2. That's my prediction. Would I bet $100 on that? No, I would not. I would not bet $100 on that. Would I bet a coffee? Yeah, I'll bet a coffee. I understand, Bruce, the appeal of the cage. It's just the footage is not as steady as the gimbal, and I can do the low angle shots with the gimbal as well. And I do have a top handle. Well, the one cage that I bought is this small rig iPhone 15 Pro Max cage. And there's two reasons why I bought that cage. First off, I don't like it because I have to take my case off my phone. That's one thing I don't like. I don't have to take the case off when I use my Insta360 Flow gimbal. It balances fine with the cage on it. Got to take the case off. It has quick release handles, which I absolutely love. Love the quick release handle system of the small rig. It also has natively built in the Moment M-mount system for the Moment lenses, because I bought the whole suite of Moment lenses, the M-mount system, so I can use them with that cage natively. That's why I got that cage specifically. I'll probably sell most of my lenses. I'll keep the anamorphic lens. That's the only real one that I like, that I'll keep, because this doesn't have an anamorphic lens on it. It has the 5X, the 2X, the 1X, and the front one. So I'll probably sell my Moment lenses at some point. I haven't got around to it yet. But it has the anamorphic lens I will keep, because I do like shooting anamorphic sometimes. The ultra-wide skinny. I see a lot of cages, and I keep seeing them getting built out bigger and bigger. And then they look too bulky. Let me see if I can pull this image up. I don't know if it'll come up or not. That's one of the ones that I have. But I have a cage for my Lumix S5 Mark IIX. And I have a top handle for that too. So what Apple, here's one of the things. Apple has already announced that they're going to have an update for Final Cut Pro for 2024 for the Vision Pro, right? They've already pre-announced that. So could that be what's coming out? I don't know. That's not important to me. Do you think Apple Final Cut Pro is lagging behind its competitors? As far as the frequency of updates, yes. They can't compete with DaVinci Resolve. Yes, they are lagging behind with current features that we expect in 2024. But the features that it have are pretty solid. Final Cut Pro, the features, it's a solid NLE. And I still prefer the Final Cut Pro method of editing, magnetic timeline, live skimming, favoriting, range selection and stuff of Final Cut Pro. And of course, Luma Fusion has a lot of those same features as well. DaVinci Resolve, like I showed you earlier, that AI of the audio is just phenomenal. But do I think it's lagging behind its competitors? Well, I think obviously it is behind. If you do a strict feature count, feature to feature, yes. Let me see if I can pull this up. That's probably not. So here, I'll show you this. Let me go over here, graphics. This is when I use a cage for my iPhone, I place that thing in a gimbal. This is what I do. So it's a small rig universal cage. Let's see if I can show you. It's a small rig universal cage, but I put that cage in a gimbal. I put that cage itself in a gimbal because I like the gimbal better than just hand holding it. Sometimes, yes, sometimes I hand hold my phone. Quick shots, but not for minutes at a time, not when I'm walking. It's too much up and down. The cage is just are too, they're not stabilized, obviously, so I do like it. I do like the gimbals, both with the cage and without a cage. That's my preferred way of doing it. I saw a lot of cages. Let me see. I saw a lot of cages. Let me pull this up. Let me see if this will go on here. I'm not sure if it will or not. Okay, it did go on. This is my setup. So I have an SSD drive. I have the DJI mic system plugged in. DJI wireless USB-C. There's the MKE 400 mic that I use for back-facing talent behind it. I have a Belkin 4-in-1 USB-C dock. And I have it plugged in to my iPhone 15 Pro Max. There's the Insta360 gimbal. This is what I prefer. Now, I don't have to use all that stuff. And the DJI receiver plugs directly into the phone. If I don't need an external microphone, but I like the gimbal better than just a cage. I like it better. If I use a cage, I still like a gimbal better. And I do like the DJI Action 4 action camera. It's really, really nice. I use it all the time now. I shoot log, M-log, something like that. M-log, 31 thumbs up. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. 31. DJI Action 4, DJI Mic 2, Insta360 gimbal. I like the Insta360 better than the DJI OM6. I like it better. All right, I think I'm going to get out of here, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. If you have any other questions before we go, shout them out. Give a shout out to the Phonica Pro team. They do watch this. This is the show that they watch. This is the show that the Phonica Pro team watches. This one. So when they hear us talk about things, they do hear us. What do you think? So we'll just do this one more time. Do you think Phonica Pro is lagging behind its competitors? It's the slow, steady train. Okay, it's slow and steady going forward. I don't think they're ever going to be a bullet train like the rest of them. I would be surprised. Now, if they do Phonica Pro 11, that might be a brand new app, right? Once again, a brand new app built from the ground up with whatever the heck they're going to do. The M4 may be optimized for the M4 MacBook Pro. No idea what the heck they're doing that way. But I do enjoy talking to the Phonica Pro team. I didn't see any of them except for one. I saw one of the engineers from the Phonica Pro team at the Strata party on Saturday night at NAB, but there's no... Phonica Pro is dead at NAB. It has been for the last 2 years. Zero Phonica Pro buzz at NAB. Nothing. No, none of the booths had Phonica Pro. Nobody was talking about it. Couple of the vendors were, but it's just a complete wasted opportunity that they don't have Phonica Pro at NAB. I don't understand it. Phonica Pro 10.7.2 May the 7th. That's what I'm figuring on. Any other questions? Any other questions? I'm going to be releasing on my YouTube channel. Do you know my YouTube channel? Don't forget to subscribe over there. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Don't forget, Richard Taylor TV. And Yeah, youtube.com. So this is pretty cool. This is the new way of doing on YouTube. Just put youtube.com at symbol Richard Taylor TV, all one word. That's the new way that you can get to that channel. youtube.com/Richard Taylor TV. Of course, most of you, let me think, I don't think I got any. Oh yeah, I did. I did get some Facebook comments. I did not get any. Let me see. Home, notifications. Let me see if I can. Yes, I can. Let me see if I can do this. Ah, here we go. I got it. X test. Let's see if that comes up. I think it does. It does. Fantastic. So we get comments from Facebook, YouTube, and X. Just went over there. X test. There's a comment from X. So we get comments from all three. We're streaming live to all three at the same time. I think I finally figured it out how to do it. I'm not sure. It's whatever. I like X. I've been on X for 13 years. I love it. Love the platform. It's like with all social media, I filter out the noise. I just either block people or I don't follow certain subjects. And I'm there for Final Cut Pro. I love animal rescue videos, people that help animals. I'm a big fan of that. I like some of the arts things, and I like rock and roll, certain rock and roll bands. I like to follow them. So I really like it. I'm a big fan of it, and I'll keep on broadcasting on there. I think they're going to be doing more with video over there in the coming year or so. We're going to see more competition to YouTube over on the X platform. I don't bother with any of the other ones. Threads is ridiculous to me. It's a joke. I don't bother with that. Any of the other Mastodon, they split it up into 20 different places. I can't be bothered going there. I just go to X. And that's only Facebook, X, YouTube, a little bit on Instagram. That's plenty. I don't need any more. TikTok, absolutely not. Not the least bit interested in TikTok. It may be fine for young kids, but it's not for me. What do you think? We got 55 people watching right now live. How many of you think we're going to see 10.7 on May the 7th? Give me a show of hands. How many think we're going to see Final Cut Pro 10.7.2 on May the 7th? If not, what do you think they're going to showcase with the new Final Cut for iPad? To me, it just makes common sense they're going to showcase a new version of Final Cut. There's the backyard again. There we go. Beautiful. Everything is turning green, green and warm. Subscribe over there. So listen, I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, almost 1,000 videos, 900 and some odd videos. I'm almost up to 500,000 views, which, listen, to some people, that's nothing. I mean, to the big timers on YouTube, that's nothing. But to me, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think we're going to get to, we're going to get to 500,000, 500,000 shortly, and then we'll start towards 1 million. 1 million views. That'll be fantastic. I don't know what we're going to get with 10.7.2. I have no idea. Thank you for the thumbs up. Another thumbs up. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I've been on for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. That's enough, right? So I don't expect any Final Cut Pro update this week. I'd be shocked if it came out this week, but I don't expect it. If there's an update or Final Cut Pro news, I'll come back on live during the week. Just subscribe to Richard Taylor TV or the YouTube. If there's no update, which I don't expect it, we'll be back next Saturday. And maybe there'll be some more rumors out about Final Cut Pro or whatever. There's lots of rumors about the iPad. First, they said there was going to be no event. Now, Apple announced an event. This is what happens. You say, you know, everybody said, oh, no Apple event. They're just going to do a press release like they did with, was it the iPad Air? What did they announce at the beginning of March? Whatever they announced, there was no event. They just announced it, and it came out. So with the iPad event on May the 7th, there's an actual event, which means they've gone to produced a video. They're going to produce a video. They're going to have people on the video. Tim Cook, of course, will be there. We didn't get to see Tim Cook when we went to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. We didn't get to see him. Let me just check over here real quick. See if there's anything going on with Final Cut Pro over on X. I don't see anything. I don't see anything over there. Nothing going on. Let me just check to see what else is. If there's anything specific going on over there. Oh, that's the... By the way, if you want to join, there's a Final Cut Pro community over on X. You can join that. I started that a while back. Let me just see if there's any other Final Cut Pro news. I don't think so. Well, I got to block this guy. Too many posts about BS. Let me just pull this up. Search. Exclude. The word I want to exclude is new NYC indie filmmaker. NYC. He has post after post after post after post of the same thing, promoting something. Yeah, I just blocked him. Close. So you can do a search on X, but you can just do minus people that are posting garbage on there. Too many. Here's another one. Amazing template. I'm going to block them too. Too many. Too much. Exclude. Gone out of my Twitter feed. When I see somebody post 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 posts in a row advertising something, I just block them. Just eliminate them from the feed so I don't have to see their nonsense. I saw some, so I have, let me see if I have that up here real quick before we head off. I saw some, this is one of the reasons I like the Action 4 a lot. This is one of the reasons. The time lapse is very easy to do. I did this the other day. And believe it or not, this is one of the more popular videos that I got from NAB so far on my YouTube channel.
Going to the Elon Musk tunnel, LBC loop. LBC loop.
This is the loop that connects the Central Hall to the West Hall over there at Convention Center.
You can go on this side and go to west, or they'll circle around.
Yep.
Excellent.
Make agenda where sessions are over there, sessions are over here, so and I don't want to be walking, so of course I'm taking the tunnels.
Save a lot of mileage on your feet.
But I should be walking at least a little bit more so I can bring down the calories from all the delicious food you're getting here.
Mm-hmm.
What model is this one? Tesla S? No.
Is it X or Y? I'm not certain, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
it's my husband used to have a Model S from work. But yeah, the whole dash and everything was.
I also went to this bowling party. They had bowling at this one party. Filmmakers, something or other. This is our friend Brad Olson, producer Off the Tracks, and his crew. We went to the pepper mill.
This is us.
This one guy argued with me about Final Cut Pro. He saw my badge. This was all Action 4 camera footage.
This way.
Thank you. Thank you. Look at that. Fantastic.
We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day. Our soup of the day is French onion soup.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I guess.
For the proxies. Raw files, we're running 500 to 800 gigs per episode.
That's probably 10 terabytes a shoot, right?
Yeah, at least 10 terabytes a shoot.
Wow.
So we move a massive amount of data.
And how often do you do that?
Every 2 months we shoot for 3 days, 3 or 4 days.
Oh, I see. And then how many? That's one episode?
We'll shoot about 12 episodes.
12 episodes.
Oh, I see. I see. So it's more than one episode. I was going to say that's a lot for one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But we roll. So each episode we try to shoot for about 45 minutes. Sometimes it goes for an hour.
Yeah.
And then there's a director's cut that ends up being around 40 minutes. And then we do a YouTube cut. These guys edit show
25 minutes per
25 to 30.
Yeah.
For a final episode.
So where's the bulk of the stuff stored? In Utah with you, Brad, or?
Yeah, we shoot in Provo.
And then that's where the raw files are.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do these guys access them?
We transcode with Resolve.
Oh yeah, we transcode.
We shoot B-RAW 6K. We transcode to 4K ProRes LT.
Yeah, and from then on, we use that LT
That's in
as
Final
our...
Cut, and then we use PostLab Drive to share proxies.
Yeah.
With the editors.
Oh, okay. You PostLab.
Yep, PostLab is how the editors.
So Alan keeps the 6K that just goes into deep storage. I keep all the 4K where I finalize and online all the episodes.
Right.
And then the proxies get sent out via PostLab Drive to the rest of the edit team.
So I get confused. PostLab, Frame.io, now there's a couple of other ones. Lucid Link, Atheon, is that one of them? Alteon. Are they related somehow? None of them?
Different companies trying to solve similar problems.
Okay. But that's what I meant. So they're
PostLab Drive is runs off of Lucid.
Yeah, repackage it. Lucid.
Okay. Okay.
And there's one more I'm going to play. So when I've left NAB, I never did a goodbye video, so I did one this time.
Here we are, NAB 2024. Tuesday, I'm getting ready to head back to the East Coast. Another year of attending NAB. Lots of people here this year. I'll be surprised if it's not 65, 75,000 people attendees this year. We had some good events. Black Magic, of course, was the main attraction, as they have been for a long time. I got to talk to Grant Petty for 5 minutes. Will I come back in 2025? We'll have to see how that goes next year. I'll semi-plan on it, but it depends on a lot of different things, what I'm doing at that point, and sponsorship and the whole 9 yards. But anyway, Final Cut TV has been broadcasting from NAB 2024 every morning, doing live streams, doing interviews, anything Final Cut Pro related. That's what I've been doing. Also, we went to Michael Cioni's Strata party, and I stopped by his booth, and I got an explanation of what Strata is exactly. Thanks everybody for watching, subscribing to the channel Richard Taylor TV. Like and subscribe as usual. Maybe next year we'll have some Final Cut Pro news at NAB.
Here's one more. We'll do this.
So we're here at NAB 2024. How do you like it so far? Everything going okay?
It's really good so far. Yeah, it's a really nice crowd.
And we're talking to Paul, founder of Hedge. That's a great title.
Oh, thanks.
I like that better than technical, like CEO. Founder sounds, people understand that. You found Hedge. So we're here, and Sam Messman's here. And Sam Messman is with Hedge now.
I am with Hedge now. I'm the new product marketing manager for what is, in my opinion, the coolest thing I have legitimately seen in years. So I happened to talk to Paul when I saw this drop at the Creative Summit. I was like, hey man, this is awesome. I haven't seen anything quite like this. It represented a little bit of a new workflow paradigm. And I was like, if there's a way for us to collaborate, and then a few months later, I'm now here on the team, basically helping coordinate the launch and get this off the ground, and it is very, very cool.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So that was Sam. I was kind of surprised. I knew about it ahead of time. He had texted me and said, I said, are you going to be at NAB? And he said, yeah, I'm going to be with Hedge. I'm like, what? You're going to be with Hedge? Yeah, but he was there, so I got to see Sam again. I saw him at the Creative Summit as well. So it's going to be an interesting year for Final Cut Pro. And Apple, I think that this iPad event is going to be a big event for Apple. For the Final Cut Pro, I mean, Apple is one thing, but Final Cut Pro, I just think it's going to be a big event. And I'm still saying we're going to see 10.7.2. I don't care about the iPad version. Some of you do. If you edit on an iPad, I understand. I'm interested in Final Cut for the Mac. We probably got 5 million plus users at this point. Maybe we're going towards 6 million. Who in the heck knows? I don't know. I'm just thinking we're going to get 10.7.2 on May the 7th. We'll see if that happens. I'm not 100% confident, but I'm fairly confident it's going to happen. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm going to head out of here. I know I said that earlier, but I started talking about some other things. And like I said, if I'm not back this week, I'll be back next Saturday, 10 o'clock, Final Cut TV and Coffee. Thanks, everybody. My name's Richard Taylor. As you know, this is Final Cut TV. Subscribe over there at YouTube. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for tuning in, each and every one of you. You are appreciated. Talk to you later.